Tom Nichols, thank you so much for giving us your time. Now, this is more than a protest, isn't it? When you look at the language being used to describe this, some are calling it an insurrection, some are calling this sedition, some are predicting even more widespread violence. What's the language that you would use to try to capture this?
This was not that coherent, and it certainly isn't coherent enough to call it a coup or insurrection, but it was mob violence directed against the legitimate government and the constitutional processes of the United States. So in that sense, yes, it is sedition. Absolutely. That's what I've called it, and that's why I've called for the impeachment of the president.
Just on that question, is this a real live option now? Could we see 25th Amendment being invoked and Donald Trump actually removed from office? Would it go that far?
Anything is possible with enough political courage. The constitutional mechanisms are all there. They are all within reach of the vice president, the cabinet, the Congress, both houses. It's simply a matter of whether or not anyone has the will. I think what the president is counting on is that Americans are simply too exhausted, too tired, too fried to continue this drama. And that much like the Republicans in Congress who have been running for cover on this, they're just hoping to get through the next 14 days without incident.
It's interesting you talk about the Republicans because clearly there are some hard decisions to be made here. Donald Trump has a lot of popular support. He got more than 70 million votes at the last election. That's almost half of the country. So what do the Republicans do? What are the challenges that they're facing right now?
Well, after all of my alarmism, I actually am one of the more optimistic former Republicans and Trump opponents. I think that once Trump is out of office, he will actually fade very quickly. So I think the future here for the Republicans is that they're going to squabble over the spoils once Trump is gone, and to see which of them can try to anoint themselves as his heir.
Joe Biden made a lot of this during the campaign, saying that there are no red states or blue states, there are just the United States. But clearly that's not the case. Clearly this is a very divided country. What can Joe Biden do right now to try to deal with this division?
You know, I'm an old-fashioned American constitutionalist. I don't think it's up to Joe Biden. Putting the country back together and overcoming this division is up to us. It's up to the people of the United States. No president can do this for us. I do think that the kind of people you saw today, that this really was a kind of a last gasp, a last hurrah from people who got swept up in a cult of personality, who think politics is some kind of reality TV show, who spend too much time on the internet and spend too much time thinking about conspiracy theories. I think most people in the United States are decent and sensible people, and I'm hoping that that reasserts itself once Donald Trump is out of the picture.
That said, Tom, this has been a really slow unravelling, hasn't it now? For decades, we've seen this increasing culture wars, increasing tribalism in America. You can go back to the 1960s. What has led to this moment?
I think in the developed post-industrial democracies, we have been the victim of our own successes. We've defeated the Soviet Union. There is really no alternative model that challenges liberal democracy and free markets around the world. We are affluent societies. We have within my lifetime, I'm only 60 years old. I mean, within my lifetime, the growth and standards of living have been miraculous and almost impossible to comprehend. And as a result, I think we've all lost our sense of seriousness about politics. We've all lost this sense that governing is hard. It takes time, it's difficult, it's detail-oriented, and instead we have become, affluent, leisure-oriented societies that think that everything is reducible to a 28 or 57-minute television show. And Donald Trump was the perfect messenger for that, and he sold people a lie, but he sold it to people who wanted to hear it, who wanted to buy it. And I'm hoping that after today, that there are millions of Americans and people in other places like the UK, like in continental Europe, and other parts of the democratic world who may step back and say, you know, democracy is a really fragile thing. It requires a real act of will and the utmost seriousness among the voters to keep it alive.
Tom Nichols, again, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.